and I say is that everybody has a backstory. Everybody has a story. And if we knew their story, we probably would owe them some respect. We would owe them some time. And then I think, you know what? Even if I don't know their backstory, they still deserve that.
People deserve respect.
Yeah. I was doing some antique shopping. We had a group of friends. We were up and down the street and walked into an antique store. And, some of these antique stores have, like 10 by 10 spaces that people rent.
Oh, and the booths. Yes.
The booths. Yes.
Yeah. They work on consignment.
Exactly. So we walked into one of those, and there's people, some of the owners or the booth people around, and we were moving around, and you look at signs that are like old vintage signs or plates or something, and here was one booth that had books in it, and there was a woman sitting in the booth, and she was, I would say, in her 80s, mid 80s, and my friends took one look, and they weren't interested in books. They were looking at other things, so they moved on. But I'm interested in books, so I kind of glanced around, and she held up a book, and she said, "Can I tell you about this book?" And certainly, and so I listened to her, and as she talked, it became clear that it was a memoir of a Holocaust survivor, and that's a powerful topic. And she talked for a bit, and I thought, well, okay, well, that, I'm going to go, I need to move on. And I tried to be gracious to her, but I tried to, step back. And then all she did was open the book to the pictures. And there was a picture of a group of people, adults, old people, young children, standing in front of a gate that had barbed wire. And she pointed to a little girl in the picture, and she said, "That's me." I just sat down in a chair next to her and said, "Tell me more." And she was selling copies of her book, autographed copies of her book, $20. And, that was the best $20 I ever bought, of course. But I just thought, oh my gosh, I owe her so much respect and time. And I just need to listen to her story. And I thought later about it, she deserved that, whether I knew her story or not. Everybody has a backstory, and that was hers. Some of our backstories are just from today. We got up late. It was a problem. I had trouble, and it's like, oh my gosh. And we get to work or we get to home, and if somebody knew our story from that day, they would have a little bit more patience maybe with us or something. But some of our backstories are like hers. They're deep and powerful. So I want to go back to my everybody has a backstory.
Yes.
And tell you why I thought of that.
Okay.
Because so last year, about 15 months ago, I had double knee replacement surgery. Anyway, it all worked out. I'm doing great. But years before that, before my knees got bad, I was in the best shape of my life. I mean, I was doing well. I was running. I was exercising. I had a coach. So one of my practices was to run around my neighborhood. And when I say run, jog. And what I would do is every block or block and a half, I would drop and do push-ups. I know. I was younger. And, I couldn't do very many. Let's say I could do 10. But here's the thing about push-ups. What my coach told me, my personal coach, was that do it to exhaustion. So, you're pushing, and so even if you can only do 9, do it until basically you can't push yourself up any further, or even, you fall back down. Okay, great. So that's exercise to exhaustion. So I'd done this run, and I'd been running down, and I'd done it 3 or 4 times. I'd gotten down and done, maybe 11 push-ups, 10, 8. So here I am. I'm 2 blocks from my house, almost done with my run. And I do my last set of push-ups, and I am working to get number 7 done, and it's just like, and I fall to the ground. Mm-hmm. So I'm on the ground, and I get to my knees, and I look over, and in the middle of the street, there's a minivan stopped in the middle of the street, window rolled down. And the driver says to me, "Are you okay?"
Yes.
He thought I was having a heart attack.
Yeah.
And the really sad part about it is I had just exercised to collapse. So all I could do was to get to my, have my hands on my knees and try to get up. I'm fine. Which, not believable. He did not believe me. I headed towards home, and he followed me.
Oh, what a good man.
I know. Okay. And the really sad thing about this, it happened twice. And the second time, my wife said, "That's it. You cannot do push-ups on the sidewalk anymore."
It's the universe.
That's right. You're done. But here's the point. He didn't know my backstory. My backstory was I was in the best shape of my life. That was like push-up number 42 or 43. He hadn't seen what had happened for the last 30 minutes. He only saw me in the moment. And because he didn't know my backstory, he assumed the worst, which thank goodness for him that he did. Thank you. Mm-hmm. But isn't that what we do? We meet somebody in the moment.
We make up this whole
thing.
Yeah.
And imagine if we knew their story.
Well,